15 of the fantasy basketball season, and it's crunch time now with 2 weeks left before most playoffs start in your fantasy leagues. And if you need help with your roster, here's a few forwards I've looked at on the waiver wire this week. The first guy's Jeff Green of the Brooklyn Nets. So Jeff Green this season, he's been a pretty decent piece here for this Brooklyn Net team, and now he's getting a big role off the bench. And Kevin Durant still hasn't come back yet, which is pretty surprising to me. But I think the Nets, they're going to take it easy with Durant, even though any day now he should return according to reports. But we'll see what happens. And Jeff Green on the season, he's ranked 199 in fantasy basketball, 10 points a game, 3.8 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 1.5 threes a game, 75% from the foul line, and 49% from the field for Jeff Green. And the last couple weeks now, with the playing time going up, 12.9 points a game, 3.7 rebounds, 2 threes a game, 76% from the foul line, and 46% from the field. And the good thing with Green here, he's a veteran, and this guy plays multiple positions: small forward, power forward, and center he qualifies for here in fantasy basketball. March 31st versus Houston, 6 points, 2 rebounds, a steal, and a block. April 1st versus Charlotte, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 5 threes. And last night in a tough loss to Chicago, he played 25 minutes again, 21 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 4 threes, 58% from the field, and 75% from the foul line. So Jeff Green, he's scoring the basketball at a good pace here. And right now the Nets, they just need some shooters around these guys with Harden and Durant. And Green, he's going to come off the bench. Aldridge and Blake Griffin started last night's ball game here for the Nets. And now they're looking for those solid bench pieces here and trying to carve out roles. So you're going to have Nick Claxton off the bench. You're going to have Jeff Green as one of the main guys. And right now, he could be the sixth man here for this Brooklyn Net team. And he can help the Nets and fantasy owners. And he's available in 87% of fantasy leagues. So I would pick him up. The second forward I've looked at on the waiver wire this week's Alexei Polovisky here of the OKC Thunder. So he's on the list a couple weeks ago. But this guy, he's been up and down, but he's one of the youngest players here in the NBA at only 19 years old. And this Thunder team, obviously, they're rebuilding here. With 20 games left, we're going to see all the youngsters, and they're getting a chance to see what they could do and see if they could be on the roster next season. On the season here for Polovisky here, 6.8 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.1 threes a game, 82% from the foul line, and an awful 31% from the field. But the last few weeks, the percentages have jumped up in the field goal percentage and the points and rebounds. 13.8 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, 3.7 assists, 1.2 blocks, 2.2 threes, 72% from the foul line, and 41% from the field, which is pretty respectable. So Politsky here, he's going to learn on the job. He's a decent three-point shooter. Overseas he was, but now here in the NBA, it's been a little tougher for him. But he's putting up some decent numbers the last few games, and like I said, he's going to get an opportunity to play here with the Thunder. They're rebuilding, they're out of the playoff hunt already, and now they want to see what these kids are doing. And March 29th, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 threes. April 2nd in Phoenix, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and 4 threes. And then a couple nights ago at Portland, a mediocre game, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, 2 blocks, and 2 threes. So it looks like he's giving owners 3 or 4 categories, and he's not worth a bad ad this week, I believe, at the forward position. And he's available in 69. He's available in 69% of fantasy leagues. The next forward's James Johnson of the New Orleans Pelicans. So a lot of injuries the last couple weeks here for the Pelicans. We've seen Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson miss the last few games. Lonzo Ball, he was out a couple games as well, but returned the other night. And James Johnson, he was in the J.J. Redick deal, and he got traded, obviously, for Redick on the season. He's ranked 234 in fantasy basketball as the veteran Johnson. 6.8 points a game, 3.1 rebounds, 2 assists a game, 57% from the foul line, and 47% from the field. But the last couple weeks, since he's been playing more, 17 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 1.3 steals a game, 2.3 blocks, 2.3 threes, 54% from the foul line, and 52% from the field. So right now, James Johnson, he's playing about 30 minutes a game since he's got inserted into this rotation here for Stan Van Gundy and the Pelicans. And this guy, he's always been a hustler. He's always a guy that's got a knack for defense, for blocking shots and getting steals, and that's what he's doing right now. And he's scoring the basketball at a great rate as well. April 1st versus Orlando, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, and 3 threes. April 2nd versus Atlanta, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block. And then last night at Houston, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, a whopping 4 blocks, and a 3. So Johnson right now, he's doing a little bit of everything right now for this Pelican team. And we'll see with Ingram and Zion coming back if he's still going to have a spot in the rotation and have any fantasy value. But right now, he's been already owned in 13% of leagues. It's gone up, and he's still available in a whopping 83% of leagues. But if Johnson could get big minutes, we've seen in his career, he could be a top fantasy asset in the top 100. So right there, Johnson's definitely worth the ad this week. The next forward is Terrence Mann of the Los Angeles Clippers. So Mann, he's been showing off some things this season where he's getting some playing time here by Tyronn Lue and this Clipper team. And Terrence Mann on the season ranked 287 in fantasy basketball, 6.4 points a game, 3.9 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 77% from the foul line, and 49% from the field. But the last few weeks in an expanded role for Mann, he's ranked 157 with 13.6 points a game, 6.9 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 70% from the foul line, and 50% from the field for Mann. But obviously, he's going to have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard ahead of him, and Marcus Morris as well as scorers. But right now, the last 5-6 games, Mann, he's getting about 25-30 minutes a game. And the last few games, he's definitely producing. March 30th versus Orlando, 9 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and a 3. April 1st versus Denver, 18 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a 3. And last night is not a great game. 7 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, and a 3. And he only played 20 minutes in that one. His lowest playing time since March 24th for Mann. So Mann, he's showing to be a pretty valuable piece here for this Clipper team. And this is what this Clipper team needs, just more guys emerging off the bench and playing meaningful minutes for them if they want to compete for a title this season and get over the hump after choking in the playoffs. And Mann, he's going to help in a few categories. He's scoring the basketball decent. He's rebounding at a decent point pace. And he's giving quality minutes for the Clippers. And I think he's going to stay in the rotation. And I think he's a guy more for deeper leagues to have a role on your fantasy team in 12-team leagues or deeper. And he's available in 86% of fantasy leagues. In the fifth and final forward, I looked at on waivers this week, Kelly Alexander-Walker of the New Orleans Pelicans. So Walker, he's been on the list, I believe, the last 3 weeks now here. And he's still available, though, in 62% of fantasy leagues. I know he got banged up with a little bit of an ankle injury in last night's game here for the Pelicans. But Walker, I still think he could get the job done. And on the season, he's ranked 178 in fantasy basketball, 10.2 points a game, 3.1 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.6 threes a game, a steal a game, 75% from the foul line, and 41% from the field. And the last couple weeks, his rankings 127 in fantasy basketball, 16.7 points a game, 5.1 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 3.1 threes a game, 53% from the foul line, and 42% from the field for Kelly Alexander-Walker. And he's playing major minutes, 35 minutes plus it's been since he went down with the injury, though last night. He only played 14. But April 1st versus Orlando, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a block, and 4 threes. April 2nd versus Atlanta, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 2 blocks, and 2 threes. And last night at Houston, 5 points, 1 rebound, 2 steals, and a block before he went down with the ankle injury. So if this guy's 100% healthy, he's got a knack for scoring the basketball. He's a pretty good rebounder. And right now, he's been a big part of this Pelican team the last 2 or 3 weeks in the rotation. And I know he's been dropped in 8% of leagues, but if it's a day-to-day thing, he's definitely worth a pickup. Available still, like I mentioned, in 62% of fantasy leagues. So that's a few forwards I looked at on waivers here in week 15 of the fantasy basketball season.